Dr. Zara Quinn stood at the edge of the landing pad, watching the transport ship disappear into Veridia's purple sky. The alien world's twin suns cast long shadows through the dense canopy of bioluminescent trees surrounding the research outpost. After 3 years of studying dangerous creatures across the galaxy, this assignment felt different. The native Veridians, with their crystalline skin that reflected light like prisms, had reluctantly allowed her presence. Their elder council had only agreed because of a recent series of attacks by what they called the Night Terror, a creature so fierce it had claimed dozens of their hunters. "The council will see you now," announced Kyleth, her assigned guide. His crystalline features sparkled with barely concealed suspicion. Like most Veridians, he believed outsiders brought only trouble. The council chamber was a natural cavern, its walls embedded with glowing crystals. 7 elders sat in a semicircle, their faces stern. High Elder Nyxis, distinguished by her intricate crystal patterns, spoke first. "Dr. Quinn, we understand you claim expertise in handling dangerous creatures. But the Night Terror is beyond your comprehension. It has stalked our people for generations." Zara stepped forward, her voice steady. "With respect, High Elder, sometimes an outsider's perspective can reveal what familiarity obscures. Let me study the creature. I promise not to interfere with your traditions unless absolutely necessary." A younger council member, Jareth, scoffed. "And what makes you think you'll succeed where our most skilled hunters have failed?" "Because I don't plan to hunt it," Zara replied. "I plan to understand it." The chamber erupted in murmurs. Kyleth's crystals flashed with surprise. Understanding dangerous creatures rather than eliminating them was foreign to their culture. High Elder Nyxis raised her hand for silence. "You have 3 cycles of our moons. If you cannot show progress by then, you must leave. And if you die—" She paused meaningfully. "The Federation must not hold us responsible." Zara nodded. "Agreed." As she left the chamber, Kyleth fell into step beside her. "You truly believe you can understand the Night Terror?" "Every creature has a reason for its behavior," Zara replied, checking her equipment. "Even the most dangerous ones." Little did she know, watching from the shadows of the bioluminescent forest, a pair of silver eyes tracked her movement. The Night Terror had never seen anything quite like this human, and for the first time in centuries, it felt something other than rage curiosity. The pre-dawn air hummed with bioluminescence as Zara followed fresh tracks through Veridia's crystal forest. 3 days of careful observation had revealed a pattern. The Night Terror always hunted before sunrise, when the twin moons cast conflicting shadows across the landscape. Kyleth moved silently beside her, his crystalline skin dimmed to avoid detection. "These tracks are fresh," he whispered, pointing to disturbed earth that still leaked phosphorescent spores. "We should turn back." But Zara's attention was fixed on something else: claw marks on a nearby tree trunk. Not angry slashes of aggression, but deliberate patterns. She pulled out her scanner, capturing the markings. "These aren't random," she murmured. "Look at the spacing, the depth." A low rumble echoed through the forest. Kyleth's crystals flashed in warning. "We must leave, now." "Wait," Zara held up her hand, studying her scanner's readings. "The sound, it's not a growl, it's more like communication." The rumble came again, closer this time. Through the gaps in the crystal trees, a massive shape moved with liquid grace. Zara's breath caught in her throat. The Night Terror emerged into a shaft of moonlight, and all her years of xenobiology training couldn't have prepared her for what she saw. The creature stood nearly 4 meters tall, its body covered in shifting plates that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously. But it was the eyes that captured Zara's attention, silver orbs that held unmistakable intelligence. Not the mindless killer the Veridians feared, but something far more complex. "By the ancient crystals," Kyleth breathed, his body frozen in terror. The Night Terror's head swiveled toward them, those silver eyes fixing on Zara. She slowly raised her empty hands, showing she carried no weapons. "We're not here to hurt you," she said softly, knowing the creature wouldn't understand her words, but hoping it would read her peaceful intent. The beast took a step forward, its plates rippling with patterns that reminded Zara of the Viridian's own crystalline communications. A theory began forming in her mind, one that would challenge everything the Viridians believed about their world's apex predator. "Kylith," she whispered, "those markings on its plates, they're similar to your people's crystal patterns." "Impossible," he hissed. "This is a monster, not a—" The Night Terror suddenly reared up, its plates blazing with light. But instead of attacking, it began tracing patterns in the air with its luminescent body. Patterns that Zara's scanner frantically recorded and began analyzing. "It's not hunting us," Zara realized, her voice filled with wonder. "It's trying to talk to us." Kylith's crystals flickered with disbelief as the Night Terror continued its display. Each movement was precise, intentional. The beast lowered its massive head to their level, and Zara saw something in those silver eyes that changed everything recognition. "Your people have been fighting it all these generations," she said, "but did you ever try to understand its language?" Before Kylith could respond, the creature did something unprecedented. It sat back on its haunches, maintaining eye contact with Zara, and began scratching more patterns into the earth. Patterns that her scanner identified as having a 67% match with ancient Viridian script. "This changes everything," Zara breathed, her mind racing with implications. "The Night Terror isn't just intelligent, it might be connected to your people's history in ways no one imagined." The creature's plates pulsed with what seemed like approval, and for the first time in centuries, the Night Terror found someone willing to listen to its story. As the twin suns began to rise over Viridia's crystal forest, an age-old miscon. Word of Zara's encounter with the Night Terror spread through the Viridian settlement like wildfire. The council chamber buzzed with agitated energy, crystal patterns, flashing in chaotic displays of disbelief and anger. "This human makes dangerous claims," declared council member Thar'kesh, his crystal formations sharp with hostility. "To suggest our ancient enemy possesses intelligence insults generations of fallen hunters." Zara stood calmly in the center of the chamber, her scanner projecting holographic images of the creature's markings. "The evidence is clear," she stated. "The patterns match ancient Viridian script with remarkable similarity. This isn't just coincidence." High Elder Nyxus studied the projections, her ancient crystal formations dimming in thought. "And you believe these markings are intentional communication?" "There's more," Zara continued, gesturing to Kylith. Her guide stepped forward, his crystals pulsing with nervous energy. "Show them what you saw." Kylith's crystals flickered in the traditional pattern of truth-telling. "The creature!" It responded to Dr. Quinn, not with aggression but with curiosity. "I saw it create patterns I've only seen in our oldest temples." A younger council member, Lyra, leaned forward. Unlike her peers, her crystal patterns showed intense interest. "The temples of the First Dawn, those patterns are sacred, known only to our historians." "Which proves this creature is a threat," Thar'kesh interrupted. "It has been spying on our sacred places, mocking our traditions." "Or," Zara suggested quietly, "it remembers them." The chamber fell silent. Even the ambient crystal glow seemed to dim. "Impossible," Thar'kesh whispered, but doubt had crept into his voice. Zara activated another hologram, a complex series of patterns the Night Terror had drawn in the earth. "These symbols appear in your oldest records, predating even the First Dawn era. I believe the Night Terror isn't just intelligent, it might be a living link to your past." Lyra's crystals brightened with excitement. The ancestor tales speak of guardian beings who walked with our first ones. We dismissed them as myths, but... Enough. Thrax slammed his staff against the crystal floor. This human twists our sacred history to protect a killer. The Night Terror has slain hundreds of our people. Only when hunted, Kylith spoke up, surprising himself with his boldness. In all our records, it has never attacked unprovoked. High Elder Nyxis raised her hand for silence. Dr. Quinn, your theory is disturbing, yet I cannot ignore the evidence. What do you propose? Let me continue my research, Zara replied. But this time with your historians. If I'm right, the Night Terror isn't your enemy. It's trying to remind you of something your people have forgotten. Thrax's crystals flashed warning patterns. And if you're wrong, if this beast uses your trust to infiltrate our settlement, then I take full responsibility, Zara stated firmly. But consider this. In the 3 days since I began communicating with it, there have been no attacks, no threatening behavior. It's waiting for us to understand. The council chamber erupted in debate, crystal patterns reflecting a spectrum of fear, hope, and uncertainty. Outside, in the deepening twilight, silver eyes watched from the forest's edge. The Night Terror observed the settlement of its ancient charges, waiting for them to remember what was lost in the long darkness between then and now. Lyra approached Zara after the session. Some of us believe, she whispered, her young crystals glowing with enthusiasm. The old ways aren't always the right ways. But as they spoke, Thrax gathered his followers in the shadows of the crystal towers. The human corrupts our youth with false hopes, he growled. If the council won't protect our traditions, we must take action ourselves. The twin moons rose over Viridia, casting double shadows that danced through the crystal forest. Change was coming, whether the Viridians were ready or not. And somewhere in the darkness, ancient eyes watched and waited, hoping that this time, finally, they would remember. Deep within the sacred archives, Zara and Lyra pored over ancient crystal tablets, their surfaces etched with patterns eerily similar to those the Night Terror had drawn. The archive chamber hummed with the soft resonance of countless stored memories, each crystal containing fragments of Viridian history. Here, Lyra whispered, her crystals pulsing with excitement. This tablet speaks of the luminous guardians beings who guided our ancestors through the great dark. Her fingers traced the intricate patterns. The description, it matches your Night Terror perfectly. Zara carefully scanned the tablet, her device translating the ancient script. The Guardians taught the first ones to harness crystal energy, she read. They shared their light when darkness threatened to consume all. A sudden commotion outside interrupted their research. Kylith burst into the chamber, his crystals flashing urgent patterns. Thrax and his hunters, they're mobilizing. They plan to end the human interference tonight. Zara's heart raced. They're going after the Night Terror. Yes, but there's more. Kylith's voice dropped. They've discovered its lair in the Crystal Canyon. They believe destroying it will prove your theories false and restore the old ways. The Crystal Canyon, Lyra's formations dimmed with shock. But that's the site of the first Dawn Temple, Zara finished, remembering her research. The place where your ancestors first learned to manipulate crystal energy. A deep rumble shook the archive chamber, causing the crystal tablets to vibrate in sympathy. Outside, the twin moons had aligned a rare occurrence that bathed the landscape in intense argentite light. The convergence, Lyra gasped. The ancient texts speak of this. When the twin moons align, the crystal energies are at their strongest. Zara grabbed her scanner and research materials. This isn't a coincidence. The Night Terror has been trying to tell us about this moment. We have to stop Thrax before. Another tremor, stronger this time, rippled through the settlement. In the distance, crystal spires began to glow with increasing intensity. The old temples, Kyleth observed, his voice filled with awe. They're awakening. Racing through the settlement, they encountered chaos. Viridians stood transfixed as ancient crystal formations, long thought dormant, pulsed with renewed energy. Each pulse seemed to resonate with the patterns in their own crystalline bodies. At the edge of the crystal canyon, they found Thar'kesh and his hunters preparing for their attack. Their weapons, crystal-powered energy spears, hummed ominously in the heightened energy field. "Stop," Zara shouted. "You don't understand what's happening." Thar'kesh turned, his crystals blazing with zealous purpose. "I understand perfectly. You've corrupted our young with false hopes, but tonight we reclaim our traditions." "Your traditions are built on a mistake," Lyra stepped forward, holding up an ancient tablet. "The Night Terror isn't our enemy, it's our guardian, trying to remind us of who we once were." The canyon erupted with light as the Night Terror emerged from its lair. But this time, its appearance was different. Its plates weren't just reflecting light, they were generating it, pulsing with patterns that matched the awakening temples perfectly. The hunters raised their weapons, but their crystal spears began to resonate with the Guardian's energy, growing too hot to hold. One by one, they dropped their weapons, staring in disbelief. The Night Terror, the Guardian, stood before them, its silver eyes fixed on the aligned moons above. Its body began to emit a harmonious frequency that caused every crystal in the canyon, including the Viridian's own formations, to vibrate in response. "It's not trying to harm us," Zara realized, watching her scanner's readings spike. "It's trying to reestablish the connection your people lost generations ago." The Guardian lowered its massive head, touching the ground with its luminous plates. Where it made contact, ancient crystal formations burst to life, revealing long-hidden patterns that spiraled throughout the entire canyon. The patterns told a story, not of a fearsome beast, but of a faithful guardian waiting centuries for its charges to remember their shared destiny. Thar'kesh fell to his knees, his crystals dimming in shock. "What have we done, all these generations?" But the Guardian showed no anger, only patient understanding. As the twin moons reached their perfect alignment overhead, the creature began the ancient teaching patterns once again, ready to guide the Viridians back to their forgotten legacy. As dawn broke over the Crystal Canyon, the Guardian's revelations sent shockwaves through Viridian society. The settlement buzzed with conflicting emotions as ancient crystal formations continued to pulse with renewed energy, forcing everyone to confront a truth that shattered centuries of beliefs. High Elder Nyxus called an emergency gathering of all clans. The massive amphitheater, carved from living crystal, filled with Viridians whose formations flickered with uncertainty. The Guardian, at Zara's suggestion, waited at the canyon's edge, its presence both reassuring and unsettling to the gathered crowds. "Our entire history must be re-examined," Nyxus announced, her ancient crystals glowing with solemn purpose. "The human scientist has helped us uncover a truth we should never have forgotten." But not everyone welcomed this revelation. Thar'kesh, though shaken by his encounter with the Guardian, had rallied his supporters. "These changes come too fast," he shouted, his crystals flashing protest patterns. "Our ways have kept us strong, kept us safe." "Safe from what?" Lyra challenged, stepping forward. "From our own Guardian, from our true heritage." Her young crystals pulsed with passionate intensity. "We've been hiding in fear from the very being meant to guide us." The crowd's crystal formations rippled with competing emotions. Some began to pulse in harmony with the ancient temples, while others dimmed in resistance. Zara watched the growing division with concern. Her scanner detected increasing energy fluctuations throughout the crystal networks. "The Guardian isn't just trying to teach you," she realized, studying the readings. "It's warning you." As if in response, the ground trembled. The Guardian's plates flashed urgent patterns, ones that matched warnings carved into the oldest temple walls. "The Crystal Heart," Kyleth translated, his formations paling. "The ancient power source beneath our settlement. It's becoming unstable." Centuries of disconnection from their guardian's guidance had left the Viridians unable to properly maintain their ancestors' power systems. The recent awakening of dormant crystals was overloading the ancient networks. "Without the Guardian's knowledge, we could lose everything," Lyra said, her voice trembling. "Our homes, our history." Thrax stepped forward, his crystals now showing conflict rather than pure resistance. "And if we trust this creature, if we abandon our ways and it betrays us?" The Guardian moved closer to the settlement, its massive form radiating calm purpose. It began a complex series of light patterns that resonated with every crystal structure in the vicinity. Zara's scanner worked frantically to decode the message. "It's not asking you to abandon anything," she translated. "It's offering to help you remember who you truly are." High Elder Nyxis raised her hands, her ancient crystals glowing with decision. "We face a choice: cling to our fears and lose everything, or trust in the truth we've uncovered and save our future." But before she could continue, a massive crystal spire at the settlement center began to crack, its energy containment failing. The ground shook violently as ancient power surged through unstable networks. The Guardian reacted instantly, its plates blazing with protective light. It positioned itself between the failing spire and the gathered Viridians, using its own body to channel and stabilize the wild energy. "It's protecting us," Kyleth breathed, watching as the creature absorbed dangerous power surges that could have devastated the settlement. "Even now, after everything we've done." Thrax stared at the Guardian, his resistance crumbling as he watched it risk itself to save those who had hunted it. His crystals shifted to a pattern of deep regret. But the crisis wasn't over. The settlement's entire crystal network was approaching critical instability. Only the combined knowledge of the Guardian and the Viridians' own crystal manipulation abilities could prevent catastrophe. The choice was clear: learn to trust their ancient protector, or watch their civilization crumble under the weight of their own fears.